Hey, good evening, everybody. Ken Rodriguez with NAGP Thursday Night GT1 Racing, coming to you live from Brno, Czechoslovakia, from the Czech Republic. But before we go any further, allow me the privilege to introduce my co-host tonight, Mr. Jack Ivy. How's it going, Jack? Yes, sirree. After last week's very interesting race at Spa Francorchamps, the mid-season classic, we saw some issues going on there. I'm quite interested to see how things are going to go here this week. We do have, say, Alex White, who is running for John Wathen. Tonight he's subbing for John Wathen, so that throws a little bit of a change up into the mix here.
Oh, and so was David Poole earlier, but you had mentioned last weekend. Boy, that sure was interesting. We had Andre Prado totally out of the race, and that really didn't do his team much justice. As it let the other guys close up on him pretty good.
It did. As a matter of fact, let's talk about team standings. We're over there. We're looking at the team standings board right now. Precision Motor Racing closing to within 30 points of the team championship after last week's. But what was it? Was it a double elimination? I believe.
No, I don't think. Oh, maybe it was. The only one I really know for sure was, you know, um, Jupp ran into Andre, at the exit of Eau Rouge there. Prado, got the flat tire, sat on the track, and he is going to pay tonight. They gave him a drive-through penalty for that, so
Yep.
really hurting on that one.
Yep, and we're going to cover the penalties in a second, but getting back to the team championship real quick. So the current standings, Anger Racing still in first with 139 points, but Precision Motor Racing after last week being able to close that huge gap down to just 30 little points. So they're sitting in second with 109, and T-Broke Dam Bam, Aaron Parsons, and Sergio Calderon, right? Yeah, they're sitting in third with 102, and we're only halfway through the season, Jack. So this means that right now it's kind of like a brand new season. This is leveled the playing field somewhat, with a very slight edge going to Anger Racing, just 30 points.
Yeah, and I keep thinking back, to driving school when Brad kept on telling us, you got to finish the race, you got to finish the race, and Andre is so competitive. I think small mistakes like this are going to cost them maybe even cost them the championship. Although they're probably the strongest team I've ever seen out here in GT1. But they just got to settle down. In T-Broke Dam Bam. I mean, we've got Parsons and Calderon. I mean, Calderon is just helping that championship driver of Aaron Parsons out by just finishing the race and gathering some points, and that's what Anger Racing's got to do to finish. But PMR, Al and Chris are all over this, so it's going to come right down to the end. I think it really helped out. I really helped the competitiveness of this season.
Well, it certainly has lent itself to some exciting times coming up for the final five rounds. And this round here at Brno is certainly going to throw an interesting wrench into this whole situation. Like you mentioned, Prato with a drive-through penalty, and we'll get to that real quick. I just wanted to cover the driver standings. Aaron Parsons sitting in first, 80 points, 74 to Andres Prato. Chris Moses sitting in third with 72. So we've seen also the driver championship has kind of closed somewhat there. There are no exorbitantly outrageous gaps between the drivers. They're all very close. Even Brad Maris, who's sitting in fourth with 65 points.
Yeah, Parsons, Prado, Moses, Maris. Maris, Monroy, and Ludden. I mean, they're all there. They're all ready to strike. They're all within distance, like you say. But both Parsons tonight is carrying 80 kilos of success ballot, and Prado with that drive-through. This is really going to make it an opportunity for Moses, Maris, and Monroy, and even Ludden. If they can put some races together, this is an exciting season.
It absolutely is, and now we've mentioned Prado several times. The debacle that happened last week, and I would have done a highlight clip because it was something worth mentioning. I mean, come on, let's keep it real, folks. Absolutely unacceptable. You're out of the race. You're down the Kemmel Straight, and you're on the racing line, and you're burning out your tires, trying to get back to the pits. You know you're not going to make it. He gets a drive-through penalty tonight, folks, and it's got to be served within the first 3 laps of the start of the race. Don't know what the penalty would be if he didn't serve that penalty, and I don't know if he's racing tonight. We'll get back to the leaderboard in a couple seconds here, but that certainly is going to apply to the very next race that he is attending. We also got Gup Douglas with a 40 pound penalty for having run it. He turned into Andres Prado earlier at the exit of Eau Rouge, and that cost Gup Douglas some weight there too.
Yeah, that was actually. He is out on track tonight, folks. He is out there. He's going to take his drive-through. Um, but it's evened everything out. So really exciting out there. Boy, it's going to be a great closeout to the season. And all I can say to the guys who aren't running in this GT1 league, you guys are missing out. This is a really, really good car pack, a really good bunch of guys to run with, and it is super competitive, and anything can happen.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Jack. Absolutely. And you know what? With the possibility of this being the last GT1 season, these folks are certainly not holding anything back. They're laying it out all on the line. If this is indeed the final season, this is for ultimate bragging rights. I'm the best, or we're the best, and we're going out on top. So we're going to have to see how the rest of this season shapes up. Right now, out on track, though, during practice, I think we were seeing some 152s, and Alex White, Ian Jolicoeur, John Ludden, Poole, Moses, Werner, they've all turned up the heat here at Brno from 150 to 152s in your top 6 spots.
Yeah, Alex White with a 150.6, and he is subbing in as Ian's teammate, and right behind him in second place is Ian Jolicoeur at 150.7. So, I mean, those Maseratis, they've got those cars tuned in tonight.
That they do, and if you remember correctly, Ian Jolicoeur and John Wathen switched to the Maseratis last week at Spa, which in my opinion was an absolutely crazy move, because Spa is certainly not the type of track you want to learn a new car on, but Ian Jolicoeur can pretty much drive anything around anywhere. And so he actually didn't do too bad, but this week seems like they got these cars hooked up really nice.
Yeah, I just love it that some of these guys like Ian are willing to try anything. If it's not working, let's try something different. And they did, and they sort of paid the price there at Spa, but. They both said the Maserati looks like it's a good car going forward for the last 5 races of the season, so it looks like they made a good choice.
Yeah, I agree, because I think that they took a long, hard look at the remainder of the circuits that we're going to be running for season 24, and they figured, mid-engine cars tend to do better at some of these power tracks. Brno happens to be one of those tracks, and we're going to bring the track pick up now. This is one of those really unique design circuits where it's a 15 turn course, and just about every turn is separated by short straightaways. There's not a really long straightaway where these 600 horsepower cars can really stretch their legs, and from turns 6 all the way to 10 is probably the most technical section of the track, where some of these high torque mid-engine cars can take advantage.
Yeah, that 6 to 10 is a very technical, and I think that's going to be key here is the guys who can master that combination of corners there. Keep the revs up, keep the speed going through there, because they're going to.
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you this much: turns 6 through 10. That is the heart of Sector 2. And I heard some of the guys talking about how Sector 2 just seems like an eternity on this track. It is. It absolutely is because it's a bit more slow going than the remainder of the track. And this is where a lot of these drivers tonight will either make up or lose a lot of time. So we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Oh, in qualifying, it's not as big a factor, but we've got track temps at 106 and the ambient at 91. So at 106, if those temps stay up there during the race, these guys are really going to eat up the tires going through those complexes, and with those short bursts on the straight, not a lot of time to cool those tires off.
Nope, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So, just taking a look at the timing and scoring right now, early going. Well, we've got 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes left to go. Alex White still sitting on top, driving in, subbing in for John Wathen with a 150.2. So, it looks like Alex White trying to push the envelope a little bit and get closer to the 149s.
Yeah, both those guys have dropped their times by a couple of hundredths, so it's good. But London has really jumped up there into the 150s as well. Poole, who's been running really steady laps in the 151s, 152s out in practice, is still sitting there, but that's good enough for fourth right now. But Chris Moses and Marty Uren right behind him.
Yep, absolutely. So Marty Uren in the pits, probably getting serviced by his team. Al Merriman currently sitting in seventh. Andres Prado in eighth, driving that Corvette, the older Corvette C5R, and he's had that car pretty hooked up as well. And as we stated earlier, all they've got to do, Anger Racing, is just settle down, get into a groove, and like you said, very strong team, very capable. But that drive-through penalty certainly going to hurt around here tonight.
Yeah, that Corvette might be a little more fuel frugal than some of the other cars that are running in the top spots right now. So we'll have to watch and see. It may that pit rotation may turn the tail there.
Yep, gotta agree. So we still have half the season left to go for GT1 racing, and no doubt that these drivers are going to give it their best. And as we discussed a little bit earlier about the points, the championships to both the team and driver, I think this is just shaping up to be a really, perhaps one of the most exciting seasons we've had in GT1.
Yeah, a little just shout out there. We've got Greg Myers. It looks like he is subbing in for Brad Maris tonight. Gregory is sitting in the pits. Come on, Greg, get that car out there and drop that time by a couple of seconds. I know you can do it.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see. Got some feedback from Alex Scott in the chat room stating that your mic is a little bit low on the broadcast. We're gonna have to try and bring you up, Jack. So, if you will give me just 1 second, let me go into my setup and bring your mic up on my end.
Will do, and welcome, Alex. Haven't got my second screen up and running tonight. A little late getting into the booth, but I didn't do a very good showing for your buddy Mike out there last Monday, but we'll try to do better next Monday.
Yep, absolutely. And guys, I just brought Jack up, so if you can hear him better, please provide the feedback in the chat room, and if not, we will work on getting it louder.
Yeah, it's always been a mystery to me on how these things shift around from week to week, but who knows? We're running as high tech in our low tech world as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, on board with Bjorn Heyman. You know, I've said it before in previous broadcasts. Bjorn, I give him a lot of credit. This guy comes out week after week. He is a true NAGP faithful, loves to run out here with the guys. Not the quickest guy out on the track, but certainly consistent in terms of attendance. and putting in a good show and his best effort. So good to see you out there again, Bjorn, tonight, and lots of luck to you.
Yes, Bjorn, you'll never hear me using the word that Alex so frequently used in last week's broadcast, but I love to see all the guys out on the track. Another guy I'm glad to see back is our tricky little Irishman, David Canavan. It's good to see him back out. And we've got Larry Ferguson. I still haven't been able to hook up with Larry, so I don't know who the heck Larry is, but good to see you out there, Larry.
Yep, it's good to see Larry out there. He's back for his second week with us.
Yeah, I guess he didn't have enough punishment last week. He's out for more.
So it still seems that we might have an issue on my end here. Let me just take a look at something. Well, we're over here messing around with the XSplit speaker output, so um, we'll see if I can get this fixed up real quick here.
Well, sorry, Alex, but it all sounds great over here.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I hear Jack just fine.
Like I said, sometimes some of this stuff is a mystery to me.
So look at this. Alex White, 150.264, and Ian Jolicor, just less than 2 tenths behind Alex.
Yeah, and Ludden and Poole are very close together, too, with a 150.8 and a 150.9. So those top four seem to be in a category all their own.
Yes, sirree. And we've got Sam Rolfe out there with us tonight as well. And I think Sam Rolfe may have missed a race or two, but it's good to see him racing out there again.
Yeah, he's in the McLaren there, the number 38. You know, one guy I miss, I'm just going to bring it up. John Sportelli. Come on back, John. Where the heck you been?
Yeah, you are not kidding, Jack. Where has Sportelli been? I don't know. I don't know.
I loved broadcasting that guy because, you know, there was going to be excitement when he was on the hunt for a position.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Sportelli certainly provided a lot of moments of excitement. So, John, if by chance you ever watch the broadcast and you hear us shouting you out, man, come on back, baby.
We love you. We love you. Now, Greg Myers is just sitting in the pits. He's only got one lap time in. Oh, now he's going out. Now he's going out. All right. Attaboy, Greg.
Yep, he needs to get himself out there. So, Greg Myers subbing for Brad Maris tonight. Brad having posted that he needed a sub for the Brno race tonight, and Greg graciously stepped up and took advantage there.
Well, you know, Mr. Smooth, as I like to call him, no doubt is going to finish in the points, and that's going to help Anger Racing out. And they're going to need it after last week's debacle.
Yes, sirree. No doubt that Greg Myers messing around with that car, probably trying to find a good setup that's going to get him around the Brno circuit in the least amount of time. We will have to see. Going back to the live timing and scoring. No change up with your top five. Andres Preto now, however, moving up into the sixth spot.
Yeah, I'm just watching David Poole. He's real close to improving his time. If he can keep this lap together, he may take that third spot away from John Ludden.
Huh. Let's go on board with David Poole right now. And David Poole currently being followed by one of the Maseratis, perhaps Alex White, perhaps Ian Jolicoeur. And he lost some time there in that second sector. He's a little over 1 second off the pole pace.
That's White following through, probably looking for a little bit of a tow, as if he needs it.
So Poole crosses.
There with a burner as well.
Going on board with Prado. You know, and that second sector, Jack, is very rough for a lot of these drivers because Preto dropped to 1 point, almost 1.7 seconds off the pole pace in that second sector. And that he's not carrying any weight tonight.
No, but he's got that drive-through.
He's got that drive-through, yep.
Aaron Parsons comes across and picks up one spot to P11.
And Aaron Parsons carrying a lot of weight around this track tonight. Certainly going to hurt the performance of the car here.
Chris Moses out for his last try at it. Coming up to the sector split.
Moses.
I'm
Wow.
not an expert, but that middle sector might hurt that car as well.
Yeah, that second sector absolutely is very slow for some of these cars.
I don't think anybody's going to get their next one in. Ludden might. Marks it.
Well, Ian Jolicoeur is probably the last one out. I don't think he's going to have enough. Yeah, no, he's not going to have enough time to get a full lap in, as the qualifying clock has wound down to 0.
Yeah, the only one with a half a chance would be Jonathan Cuppett, currently sitting in P22. But we've seen this happen before, Ken, when they just come across the last corner and the session switches.
Yeah. Yeah. Right as they're about to come across that sector. Yep.
And that is exactly what happened.
So, yeah, that Very interesting. So, Alex White taking your poll. And look at this. Alex White even improved the time that he had set his initial poll time with to a 150.135. So, sorry about that. So yeah, Alex White, Ian Jolicoeur, John Ludden, all and David Poole, all in the 150s, and I thought that they were blistering fast when 152s were the time that was being put up during practice. So, absolutely amazing work and results from these top drivers here tonight.
Yeah, just just to put it into perspective, the last time they raced here, the race went 46 laps. The pole position was 151.091. So
Wow.
we got four drivers that have beat that pole time. So these guys are just getting faster and faster and faster. There's no wonder I get dejected the longer I'm in this league. I'm telling you right now, these guys just get better and better.
Oh yeah, they do. We no doubt that the drivers season after season have gotten faster, while I've stayed the same. I think it has something to do with my age. I don't know, or just my inability to just go faster. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going backwards. These guys are going forwards.
I think it's just that you and I do not get enough seat time, Jack. I think once I retire, I'm going to become a professional sim racer and just be as fast as heck at 65.
Well, I think I'm going to go out and buy myself a new axe and get the band together because this sim racing for me is not doing it. But I do enjoy the Thursday nights.
I absolutely do, and that's why we are still here. Unfortunately, I have not been able to race on in Monday Night GT2 due to work and scheduling conflicts, so and family as well. So it's been very difficult for me. But Thursday nights are not that busy, and I really love the commitment to the broadcast. I love being on here and just giving a lot of love to the guys here at NAGP. So we're going to continue the Thursday nights for sure.
Well, we really haven't had any big announcements. So, is Thursday night coming back? Maybe we'll have to get Big L to put up a post or let us know what's going on. And for you guys that are out there driving, maybe you better let Al know what you want to do if you want to come back on Thursday nights. Let him know. Put it up in the post.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There has to be some open dialogue as to the future of this league, and I know that Al is very capable of steering this league in the right direction. And yeah, folks out there, you know that Al runs the league, but he doesn't run it alone. He does have help. He has eyes and ears on the ground out there in the community. They are constantly looking for ways to improve the league. They are looking for what's best for NAGP to continue having the types of turnouts that we've had. So I know good things are going to come.
Yeah, what a great group of guys he's got working with him, including those broadcasters like yourself, Ken, who come around and donate all your time and make this league a great place to hang out. But I'm going to steal one of Ken's lines here. We are run by donations, so come on, guys, don't be so chintzy. Throw some bucks at it and keep this thing going.
Yes, sirree. It is actually quite expensive. The cost of running this league is just about the same as a car payment, if not a little bit less, but roughly around there. So we can certainly use the donations, and if you like what you see, like Jack said, throw a couple of bucks our way. We'll appreciate it, and we'll put it to good use too.
Yeah, got to keep our salaries flowing, guys.
Absolutely. I like my pack of cookies that arrive at my house every week.
Cookies?
I get cookies. What do you get?
You get bupkis.
Okay.
But that's all about what I'm worth. So that's okay. So what do you think? What do you think out there tonight? What's your prediction?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm feeling for John Ludden tonight. John Ludden has been trying to string together a good GT1 season, and he's had some small struggles, some small struggles in season 24. Some other drivers have absolutely stepped up their game and have made it very challenging, to say the least, for folks like John Ludden and some others to pull out a win. But I think that if John Ludden tonight can just put his head down, stay consistent, he might just have a chance. So, John Ludden, my money's on you tonight.
Well, that's tough when you've got Alex White and Ian Joker are out there running as a team, sitting in 1-2 right now. That's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough duo to get around, get by, and pull away from. But I know you're pulling for Ludden, and that's good. I love the guy. I'd love to see him take a win. But I got a feeling the dark horse here tonight is going to be David Poole. I really get a funny feeling that he's going to pull one out, and I'm sure he's going to be on the podium in some sort. But David's got my money tonight.
Very good choice. Very wise choice, too. So we're just going to have to see how this one plays out. We've got about 2 minutes left in warm up, and then we are headed over to the race. And tonight, actually, there's an average chance of rain for the race session. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. And if you know anything about this league, rain is the great equalizer. Not that that's what we want to see. I'd like to see a dry race around this track here tonight, just so that way these boys can lay the power down and really put on a good show.
Well, with Alex being in as a sub, I don't know if he's got any practice time on this track, in this car, in the rain. So if it does rain, boy, oh boy, you can throw all the predictions right out the window.
I would still stick with Ludden, believe it or not. I know Ludden, he excels a little bit in the rain, and he reminds me of Marco Conti, who used to race here at NAGP with us, who loved when it rained. He had that little Ayrton Senna aura to him, where he did absolutely well in the rain. So if it does rain, I think Ludden has perhaps maybe a better chance. But I'll tell you who would have a better chance in the rain. It would be your choice, David Poole, for sure.
Well, the guy that I throw all my money on, but he's not here today if it rained, was Brad Maris. But you mentioned Marco Gotti. I really miss that guy. I wish that guy'd come back. I loved his post-race write-ups. I look forward to reading them every week. Boy, Marco, come on and join us. Just grab a car and come on in. If you can only make it for a few races, that's good enough for us.
Yeah, that it is. So we're winding down warm up now, and we're going to get ready to switch over to the race here at Brno. Interesting lineup tonight. Very interesting lineup. It has been hard for some of these guys to lay down some really fast laps, and John Houston is actually sitting a ways back in 19th, surprisingly, but
Yeah. Yeah, he's had some good racing this year, too.
he does have 40 kilos, and he did mention in the Ventrilo channel that when whenever he gets any kind of weight for whatsoever, he just drives like a slug around the track. But it's just a matter of getting used to it, John. And you know what? Put your head down and peg the accelerator to the firewall. You'll be okay.
Yeah, I know what he means about weight. I had weight last week on Monday night, and I felt like I just threw the anchor out the back.
Yeah, you sure did. What did they give you? 40 kilos for your first race, and were you subbing for anyone?
Yes, I am. Alex Scott has been nice enough to let me take his ride for the rest of the season. Alex, if you're out there and listening, you're more than welcome. If you get a free evening, you can jump back in and grab that car off me again anytime you want, because I'm not doing it any justice out there.
Oh, but you're having fun. Are you kidding me? So we are switched over to race. We've got Temperatures of 37 Celsius, 31 ambient, and looks like it's bright and sunny out there, Jack. And let's go ahead and run them down. Starting in pole position, Alex White, Ian Jolicoeur will start second, John Ludden in third, David Poole fourth, Chris Moses fifth.
Qualified for Andrew Werner in sixth. Andre Prado in seventh. Marty, you ran in eighth. Big Al Merriman in ninth. Ryan Schleif in 10th.
Starting in 11th, Aaron Parsons, David Canavan starts 12th, Thomas Schubeck in 13th, Gub Douglas 14th, and Sam Rolfe in 15th.
Sergio Calderon in 16, Johnny McIntyre at 17, Bjorn Heyman at 18, John Houston 19, and Larry Ferguson in 20th.
Starting 21st, Gregory Myers, Jonathan Cuppett will start 22nd, and starting in 23rd is Mr. Mike Greatrix. That is your running order for tonight's race at the Brno Circuit. So Alex White still in the pits, yet to put his car out on the starting grid.
You always like to jump out there a little late. Everybody getting settled down. I'm at the back of the pack here. I'm going to keep my eye on Prado for the first lap to see if he's going to turn in, and I'll watch and bring you all the action from the rear.
Yes, sirree. With 20 seconds left to go, Alex White still in the pits. Perhaps making some last-second adjustments, but get out there, Alex. Hurry up. And here we go. These engines are going to start to rev. And the lights are coming on. And once they go out, they are off. Oh, a little bit of a move by Alex, but he gets the whole shot. Ian Jolicoeur in second. Chris Moses looking to capitalize. Looks to the outside, but David Poole will block him.
Sam Rolfe is out.
As they come around, turn number one, Alex White, Ian Jolicoeur, David Poole, Chris Moses up to fourth. He's going to drag race with David Poole into turn number three. Goes hard on the outside and gets it done. John Ludden gets pushed back down to fifth.
Cuppett with an early spin, put him back at the back. They are pushing hard at the back.
Yep. Just saw Bjorn Heyman in 22nd. So Bjorn running in your last. He's your last running car here tonight. Sam Rolfe taking a DNF.
Yeah, he got caught up in an early accident, put it in the wall, and that probably killed his engine.
We've out front. We have got a very early battle going on. Chris Moses seems to not be taking any shorts here today. He is all over the back of Ian Jolicoeur. Early on, trying to take over that second spot.
And they've already put a bit of a gap on to P4, David Poole, with Ludden all over the back of him. Prado taking his drive-through.
Dropping like a stone in a pond right now, down to last. Better to get it out of the way early and just go through it and just claw his way back up to the top.
Yeah, that was a smart move. Lap one, tires were just barely heating up. I mean, time to get out, and it was a slow lap anyway. Time to get that out of the way and get down, settle down, just put in your the quickest pace you can, and don't get too overexcited about it.
Yep, up front with your leaders, and it looks like Jolicoeur is just happy to follow Alex White around the track. certainly would give this team some much needed points. But Joe LaCour has to be careful because he does have a hard charging Chris Moses right behind him.
Yeah, and I have noticed Ian locking the brakes up a little bit there. So, and I'm not too sure what car is going to be worse on tires, Maserati or the Celine, but they have to watch that they don't burn themselves out too quickly.
Another early battle, Marty Uren in P7 being hunted down by Ryan Schleif. Ryan Schleif, who was having a little bit of difficulties during qualifying, getting a really, really fast lap in there, seems to have gotten it together for the race session, and perhaps, just perhaps, the added weight of the fuel has just stabilized that car just a little bit more, that he can actually take a better line around the course.
Yeah, P6 to P12 are all, within sight of each other. So some good early action in the first couple of laps here tonight.
David Canavan up in 10th, driving the Lister Storm, not too far behind the boss man, Al Merriman. And Aaron Parsons driving the big Ford GT. He's got tons of weight on there, and he seems to be able to stick it to Canavan, not letting go of Canavan's rear bumper and able to keep pace with him. Canavan takes a little bit wide into the dirt. It's going to give Parsons an opportunity to take a look in the inside, but not going to get it done.
Yeah, good action all the way through the field. John Houston just gave up a spot to Johnny McIntyre, and they got Greg Myers behind him. So Greg's now sitting in P17, so Mr. Smooth is moving his way up into the points.
Tom Schubeck running a great race in P13, hunting down Gub Douglas.
Yeah, go Thomas.
So John Houston, having taken on 40 kilos of ballast because he had not raced within the last 3 races, doing very well. P16, last points paying position, but he's got Gregory Myers right behind him, so he's going to have to keep an eye on his mirror while trying to hunt down Mr. Houston. While trying to hunt down John McIntyre. Larry Ferguson doing all right for himself out there in P18, driving that Nissan R35.
P1 to P5, they've spaced themselves all out. Alex White seems to be pulling away slightly.
You know, I was just about to say the same thing, but another interesting development here at the Brno circuit is that the skies have gone dark, and it is going to start raining here any moment now.
And tire selection has always been the biggest single, bugaboo for all these drivers.
And I just don't know what's it.
Conditions are forecast for rain, and the skies look like it.
Alex White having opened up the gap to about 2.5 seconds over Ian Jolicoeur. Very interesting to say the least.
It sure looks like rain. What started out as a beautiful day for a race may end up to be a
total schmozzle.
One guy who always makes fairly good tire choices is Mr. Parsons. There's a guy who's, I don't know how much time he puts in practicing this thing, but boy, there's a guy who always seems to make the right choice.
Well, the track is still dry, so it's 38 Celsius, still a dry track out there, but the conditions are calling for rain, and so is the forecast. We're just going to have to wait this one out. In the meantime, we're going to bring you all the good racing action around the track as we cycle from Ian Jolicoeur back through the field. Boy, Chris Moses is really trying to put it to Ian Jolicoeur, but Jolicoeur looks like he's got the oomph out the corners, and that is where Moses is lacking a little bit.
Just as you were saying that, call me crazy, but the skies look like they're bluer than they were just one lap ago.
Just a little bit, I know. Crazy GTR2 weather mod. So now Ludden in P4, having gotten around David Poole, but David Poole not happy with that, and he is back all over the tail of Mr. John Ludden.
Yeah, and this is where John's just got to keep it together. And, if Poole has pace, the smart move for John, if Poole has pace on him, is to let him by, hook up to his back end, and follow him around. I know that's not what's inherently built into these guys, because they're so competitive, but that might be the smart move. Rather than come under all this pressure, is hook back up to the back end of David and ride with David.
Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. And yeah, looking up at the skies, it does look a little bit bluer, so it looks like the sun is actually trying to break through as they come around the last turn for this.
It is.
For
It's now calling for sunny conditions and dry again.
there you go. So who the heck knows what's going to happen over here in the Czech Republic tonight?
I gotta say, that's probably one of the weirdest little bits of weather change-ups I have seen, period.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
White 4.5 seconds in front.
Yeah, he's just checking out. And White has the advantage. He's got no weight on that Maserati. Simply because he raced 2 races ago back at Monza where he subbed for somebody else. So he's got that great advantage, sorry. So,
Ian might be holding up Chris Moses a little bit.
oh, Larry Ferguson on the inside of Sergio Calderon is going to put the pass on him for P14. Textbook maneuver. But doesn't look like Sergio's too happy with that, and he's trying to hang on to Ferguson's bumper, but it looks like Ferguson's has just got a little bit too much pace for Mr. Calderon. Mike Greatrix now making some moves of his own. He is up into the points, running in P16, just got by Thomas Schubeck. And Tom Schubeck looks like he's got some heavy damage to the front of his car. Yep, it looks like the front left took a nasty hit. Bjorn Heyman back in 18th. Jonathan Cuppett falls back to 19th. John Houston in 20th.
Now, just an interesting little fact I want to throw out here tonight. Kenny is Team Columbia Vintage, Monroy and Salem Montgomery. AWOL.
They are not here tonight. And here's another interesting tidbit. Andres Preto has taken a DNF. He has dropped from the server.
Whoa! Boy, oh boy. I missed that one. Boy, I must have been asleep. I was watching the Poole Ludden chase down going on, and I missed that one. That is not going to be good news for Anger Racing.
No, that is going to hurt the team championship most definitely because PMR Racing right now, Al Merriman, as we are following him around track, running in 9th, and Chris Moses up to 3rd. Boy, oh boy, these boys are going to close that championship. I think they're going to pull right up on their tails if they get good finishes here.
Well, we do sitting in 13. So Gray's going to bring in some points for them. But, Chris and Al, if they can have good finishes, they're going to move to the top of the team championship board, I do believe. I haven't done my math, but I would say they will.
And I would have to agree. I mean, if Chris Moses can manage a podium and Al Merriman a top 10 finish, I believe that is going to put PMR Racing at the top of the championship standings. We'll just have to wait and see, folks, because we have 46 laps of racing here tonight. There is still plenty more to go. We're only on lap 7, so anything can happen here.
Yeah, Alex White holding about a 6-second lead over Ian Joliker, but Ian has finally given himself a little bit of breathing room to Chris Moses, but Ian's constantly locking up the brakes and Chris pulling up on him in those lock-up areas.
Looks to me like Alex White is on cruise control right now, perhaps trying to conserve a little bit of his tires for the first stint, not wanting to completely wear them down. And he knows that he's got that lead to Ian Jolicoeur, and perhaps that he's in a heated battle with Chris Moses. If he's got his XD up, he can see the gaps back to those two drivers and figure, you know what, if these guys battle hard enough, I've got this one in the bag. I can just cruise it around the track. Save my tires to the pit rotations and get back out there and do much more of the same.
Yeah, and same goes for Poole and Ludden. David Poole seems to have maybe dialed it back just a tad. He is not. I don't see him looking to get by Ludden at this point, but just hang on. And as long as we've got, Moses in sight, that looks like where David's happy. And his teammate Andrew Werner is only 4 seconds behind him. So Werner and Poole doing a great job tonight.
Absolutely, and you know what? I think at some point these drivers have to realize there's a lot of racing to be had here tonight. It's a long race. It's 90 minutes, and the opportunities do exist when the pit rotations come into play. So, yeah, I'd say that some of these guys are just going to start to settle into a rhythm and start to strategize a little bit more about what they're going to do come the middle of the race.
Yeah, they're getting spaced out a little bit now. It's they're settling down. Looks like they're just going to try and keep it smooth, keep it consistent, keep the lap times consistent, so they don't give up anything. And we'll see in the second stint how it all turns out, as long as it stays dry.
As long as it stays dry, that's right. So Gregory Myers in P13 trying to do the best he can for Anger Racing, and he's looking mighty racy out there.
Yeah, Chris Moses has kept Ian, keeping him honest. And it almost looks like John Ludden and David Poole are closing the gap on 2 and 3.
Just a little bit. So, excuse me. Mose is having to go a little bit heavy on the brakes through that corner, because if not, he would have found the grass on the outside corner. Gives Ian a little bit of breathing room there, and yeah, John and Poole, or Ludden and Poole, seem to be closing that gap to P3. Chris Moses.
They are indeed. Ludden's only less than a second behind, and Poole is less than a second behind him, so all close. Although White is increasing his gap. We just had somebody else drop out. Not sure who that was. I'll try and figure it out.
Yeah, I just heard that. Wow. Don't know who it was. But we have 19 cars running now. Oh, Chris Moses. It was Ian Jolicoeur that dropped.
Ian's gone.
Ian's gone. Chris Moses jumps up to second now. Now, I don't know if Ian disconnected. I know that Ian has been battling some pain. So I don't know if he dropped because of that or if he may have lost his connection. But Chris Moses inherits through that attrition P2, and I think John Ludden realizes that. John Ludden going to try and start reeling in Chris Moses now.
Yeah, that's a shame for Ian. You're right. I know he's had odd, wacky drops out of the server, and it looks like this is one of them. And I'd hate to be at the Joliker house right now, as I can see Ian ripping the wheel out, tearing his cable out of the wall. Bad luck, tough luck, Ian. But we'll see you back again next week.
So we go on the oh, we got somebody else dropped. We go on the bonnet cam with John Ludden, who is now pulled up to Chris Moses and is in his draft up the hill for the final 2 turns before the start-finish straight.
Yeah, missed that one again. I didn't see who dropped out there either.
Not going to be too hard to figure out.
It is for me.
I'll give it a look. Right now I'm on board with John Ludden looking ahead at Chris Moses, and he's got him in his sights.
Yeah, as we said before, they've sort of settled down. You know, White has increased that gap to 12 seconds, but everybody settled down. Looks like they're sort of in their groove. They got their pace. Nobody's running away from anybody else. They're just all in there hanging in together. Cuppet and Graytrix got about the most, but everybody's within a couple of seconds of each other. So it's only going to take one little flub by one of these drivers, and everybody's going to creep up.
You're absolutely right. So I'm looking back at the timing and scoring, trying to figure out who dropped.
Ludden having a run at Moses.
Yep, we're on board with Ludden, and I'm looking at that scoring and timing. I can't figure out who dropped, so we're going to let that one go for now.
Boy, John Ludden really putting the pressure on Chris Moses now.
Yeah, that he is. He certainly is trying to perhaps get around him. Not sure if it's for the purposes of putting distance between him and Poole, or if it is that Moses is just holding him up a little bit. Not exactly sure. It doesn't seem that he's going too heavy on the brakes.
No, but Chris sometimes looks like one of those Japanese slide or drift artists out there. So John's probably just waiting for one of those moments to happen, and that'll be the moment that allows John Ludden to get the power down a little earlier than Chris and get around, as they both are heavy on the power.
Perhaps, but you know what? I've rarely seen Chris Moses, after the first few laps of a race, make mistakes. I really can't even tell you off the top of my head. Last mistake I saw Chris Moses make, it was at Zhuhai, where he blew turn 1 and ended up taking out David Poole, but that was it. So, gonna run down the order out front. Alex White just kind of like on cruise control, and Chris Moses in P2, John Ludden all over his tail in P3, David Poole in P4, Andrew Werner 5th, Uren, Schleif now having a little bit of a battle with Uren for P6, Al Merriman not too far behind them. So whoever was in front of Al Merriman is the one that dropped, because Al Merriman was in 9th. David Canavan was in 10th. He's now 9th. Aaron Parsons up to 10. Gup Douglas in 11. Gregory Myers in 12. Sergio Calderon in 13th. Larry Ferguson in 14th, and now is being hounded by Thomas Schubeck, whom he put the moves on a little bit earlier. Bjorn Heyman in 16th. Mike Raytrick 17. Jonathan Cuppet, and that is it. Did we lose Schleif? Was it Schleif that we lost? No, I think Schleif was in there.
No, Ryan's still here. I just want to make a little observation. I've been following David Poole around, and his brake lights are coming on during portions of the track when they shouldn't be on. I don't know if he's inadvertently, I can't see it for David, inadvertently leaning his brake foot on the pedal, but he is getting intermittent brake lights coming on when they shouldn't be coming on, and if it's a technical issue, it is definitely going to cost him time.
That it is, and boy, I gotta tell you, Jack, that was happening to me not too long ago. I had to set a dead zone on my brake pedal of about 3% because I guess the potentiometer is starting to wear down just a little bit. So, David Poole, when you watch the rebroadcast, listen to what we're saying, have a look and see.
Yeah, you know, when he comes into pit time, I may mention it to him. I don't know if he won't be able to do anything there about it, but this is definitely not helping him out. I mean, his brake light's on almost constantly now.
Well, I'll tell you this much. If he is a left foot braker, perhaps he can just stick his foot underneath the brake pedal and pull it up.
Good point.
If
So Ludden all over the back of Moses, and I think, you know, maybe Moses is holding Ludden up because even though David Poole might be having some technical issues there with his car, he has closed the gap and is joining this fight.
Yes, sir. So we are on the chase cam with John Ludden looking ahead at Mr. Moses, who has a little bit of a slide there coming out of that turn.
Yeah, John's lines look so clean going through there.
Back with Gup Douglas. Gup is kind of running out there by himself in P10. Gregory Meyer is still running P11, and Sergio Calderon in 12th. Larry Ferguson advances to 13th, and he is still being hounded by Thomas Schubeck. So Schubeck not willing to let go of Ferguson's bumper for any reason whatsoever, perhaps just wants that spot back.
I just heard another drop.
Yeah, boy, I gotta tell you, a lot of folks are dropping here tonight. Not exactly sure why. But Al Merriman gets into the pits, and we are on lap 13th. So, oh, he lost his front.
Had an incident and lost his front clip.
Yep, he's got no front clip. Oh, that is a bummer because he was up in 8th. I'm wondering if he's going to strategize now and figure he can go all the way to the end. I mean, we're on
Lap 13, I don't think so.
lap.
Lap 46.
Yeah, that's a stretch for that saline. Not sure if that can make it. So, just taking a look real quick here at Ryan Schleif in P7, still trying to hunt down hard running Marty Uren, who is running in P6. Al is still in the pits. Looks like he is getting full service here on this stop as he goes. Looks like he may have gone a lap down. And he's back out. Yep, the leaders just went by. And he is down one lap.
bet John Ludden wants that pass real bad now.
Yep, we're gonna stay with this battle, and it looks like this cat and mouse game that Moses and Ludden are playing has allowed Poole to close the gap ever so slightly to Ludden's rear bumper. So uh, still a lot of racing to go, guys. I don't know just how bad Ludden feels he needs that pass.
Well, I think he thinks he probably has a little bit of pace, and if he can get by him, he will be able to gap him a little bit. But the guy in the catbird situation here is David Poole again, because if these two tangle up there, Poole is just going to be Johnny on the spot and zip right through there.
Yep, Johnny on the spot.
Now, you might know, Ken, because I sure don't, what car is going to eat up the tires worse out of these three cars?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but my understanding is that saline is very, very hard on rear tires. And with the temperatures that we have around here tonight, it could be that Moses very shortly, if not already, may start to suffer some rear tire degradation to the point where it's going to affect his ability to put down the power coming out of the corners.
Yeah, it is 101 temperature on the track, so I mean it is warm out there. But now David Poole all up behind. This is great racing, folks.
That it is. And so we're on board with John Ludden, who is sandwiched between Moses and Poole. Oh, and Poole takes it wide through that corner, has a bit of a lurch, and gives Ludden an opportunity to breathe just a little bit. And
Yeah, just a little bit of breathing room, but that's the most room he's had in the last couple of laps. So there's only 1 second separating Moses and Ludden, and a second between Ludden and Poole. Warner's only 5 seconds off that, so Poole and Warner having a great team effort out there. Schleif and Uran, looks like a battle might be heating up there for P6. And Parsons and Canavan, it looks like they've settled down, and Parsons is just going to follow Canavan around up until the pit rotation.
yep, it looks that way. Yeah, Parsons, Canavan with quite a bit of a gap to Parsons. And these guys are just kind of very spread out right now. Thomas Schubeck,
Yeah, all that weight on Parsons is probably taking its toll.
no doubt. So Bjorn Heyman manages to pass Thomas Schubeck for P13. Schubeck takes a little wide coming off of that last corner. Mike Graytrix up to 15. Jonathan Cuppett will inherit 16th. Al Merriman back in 17th. So
There
Al
goes Ludden. Ludden's making the move. Ludden's making the move.
just caught up with that, but Chris Moses goes deeper into the braking zone and says, "Not this time, my friend."
Yeah, he closed the door on Ludden because Ludden was right up there, primed to take advantage of that.
Looks like he'll have another run here.
Go.
And I think
Boy, this is some great racing.
that Ludden might take advantage here. Nope, not close enough.
No, but as I mentioned earlier, as these guys are, slicing and dicing, Poole is right there. He's just hoping these guys, give each other a little bit of paint swap and door slap action going on, and Poole is going to be right through.
See Chris Moses locking. Oh, Chris Moses nearly slides it, locking up his rear tires now as he's braking into the corners. He's going deep in the braking zone, trying to keep his position ahead of John Ludden.
Yep, I think the tires are finally might be going away from Chris as he keeps locking them up. David Poole trying to hang on to as close as he can to the back of these guys and getting a little out of shape there.
I think all three of them are, well, more so Moses, if anything. You know that Moses loves to run his cars loosey goosey. He loves the loose rear end, and certainly showing that as he accelerates out of these corners here now.
Little slide by Moses. Ludden looking on the inside.
Ever so close.
Fabulous action by both these drivers. This might be the run Ludden needs.
Oh, Moses is not shaking him, but no, Ludden is going to think twice about it.
This is great stuff.
Very, very close racing out there.
Yeah, these guys are within a foot of each other at times. Got my hats off to both these guys. And as we get into lap 18, those tires aren't as good as they were in the first couple of laps.
No, they certainly are not. But I got to tell you, these guys make it look easy out there, Jack. They are just driving some phenomenal lines and giving us a great show as they battle for position.
Yeah, they're battling for P2. I mean, that's 2, 3, 4. We got three guys in there giving it their all, trying to, hoping to get into P2 that maybe Alex White will have a bit of a moment at some point, but boy, Alex is 23 seconds out in front. It's no wonder I call the guy the White Lightning. He's just in a class all his own tonight.
That he is, and I'll tell you what, he only had practice tonight with that Maserati, so just go a sheer testament to his abilities with driving these sim cars. He is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I gotta give Alex a tip. Get a life, Alex. Holy crap. You must spend your whole life sim racing. You need get a girlfriend or something. I don't know. Just boy, oh boy.
Well, I have seen Alex around playing Football Manager quite a bit lately. That's a game that he's been playing on Steam, so I know he's been doing that.
Well, I think we got to put Alex. Maybe we should put him up on a dating site somewhere and get him a girlfriend.
eHarmony.com.
Well, we'd probably have to put him up on SimHarmony.com.
SimHarmony.com. That's a good one, Jack. Oh, Ludden having a look on the inside.
John is looking for any way around, and this might be it. He's going to get desperate, and this might cost him, but he's going to try it. great driving by all three of these guys here. Moses doing a great job. I haven't seen any blocking at all from Chris Moses. So he is just driving perfectly to hold that line and hold his position.
Epic battle that has been going on here for laps upon laps. But we're going to break away from this just a little bit for a few seconds as we kind of cycle through the field here. I will leave you watching this battle as I search the field for who's doing what. Jack, we're going to take a 30-second break. We are fixed on Ludden and we are watching a three-car battle. I will be right back.
And what a as Moses and Ludden has now got around Chris and has put about a second between them. Although Chris is going to do his best to hang in there, but I did feel that if Ludden could get around, John's lines look so clean going around the track that I have no doubt that he's going to be able to put a small gap on him. But this is pit rotation time, and Chris Moses is the pit wizard for a reason.
So I see Mr. Ludden has gotten around Chris Moses and was listening to your commentary there, Jack. I'm glad that we did not stray away from that battle that was going on and it was caught on the broadcast. So no doubt now Ludden seems to be checking out just a little bit. And I'm wondering, could it be that Chris's tires are just not giving him the grip that he needs to hang with Ludden?
Yeah, I do think that they're coming in. Now, Poole has already pitted. He pitted early, well within his window. He pitted on lap 21, so he's within his pit window, or else he wouldn't have gone in. But if David Poole's gone in, he knows he wants fresh tires out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Chris is going to come in soon, because that Celine has got to be hurting on rear tires.
No doubt. So Poole now he exits the pits in P12 just behind Thomas Schubeck, who has not pitted yet, and not sure exactly how Poole.
Moses in the pits.
So that will give the lead to John Ludden, but for how many laps?
No, White's in the lead by 26 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Absolutely, we forgot about Alex White because he's just so far ahead. He's almost out of our minds.
He is out of his mind. He is definitely having an out-of-body experience right now because he's 26 seconds ahead of P2. He's running on autopilot. It's almost like he's in a different race.
All by himself out there saying, Well, let me try and beat my last lap time. Now let me try and beat this lap time. Yep, okay, I did it. Now let me try and beat this one now. He's just driving out. I don't know. I don't know how these guys can endure it for 90 minutes just out there kind of racing by yourself. But he's doing it.
The lap times have come down. Alex White was running in the 152s, and in the last 5 or 6 laps, he was in the 53s. Now he's just tuned in at 54, a high 54 as well. So tires are going, and he's got such a big lead. He can come in just about any time he wants, grab fuel, and he's good to go. And he's coming in.
And he is in the pits. So your race leader, Alex White, coming into the pits, that will temporarily give the lead to John Ludden, unless John perhaps might be thinking to pit this lap as well. We'll have to see. Ludden coming around the last corner.
Would be wise to get in right now, and he is.
And he is. Very smart move. Andrew Werner in third now. Werner's in the pits. Marty Uren up to fourth.
Similar into the pit.
Into the pits, yeah. It looks like all these guys are starting to. Let's go back to timing and scoring, see where we are in terms of laps. We are on lap 23, so yeah, this is definitely the pit window. This is where they want to get in now and get out as quick as they can.
Canavan in the pits. Parsons in the pits.
Looking at Gub Douglas, see what he's going to do. Yep, and Douglas is in the pits as well.
White is rolling. Ludden is rolling too. So Ludden is getting out right in behind White.
Oh boy, this is going to be quite interesting. Well, Alex White is already out on track and he's at speed, so Ludden's got some making up to do.
Well, he does, but Ludden is only 15 seconds back, but Moses has gotten out, so we're going to have to see, because Moses is out in front of Ludden, and Poole is out in front of him.
Yep, so we are right back to this three-way battle. The order has changed a little bit. It's now Moses, Poole, and Ludden. We're going to have to see how this plays out. So Poole right now perhaps on the best tires, having pitted earlier and got probably optimal grip.
It's going to shape up. It's the same three-way battle we got going. There's only a second or a little better than a second separating these three drivers again, Moses, Poole, and Ludden. So a great battle going forward for the second stint.
Wow, Poole took it a little wide coming out of that last corner. Got his two outside tires on the grass, but he got it back.
Yeah, even a little farther back, 6, 7, and 8, we got Marty Uren, Ryan Schleif, and David Canavan. They're all within a few seconds of each other, so they've all got to put in smooth laps, or else that position is going to change again. And Gup Douglas is out in P10, so a great change. We got Heyman, Schubeck, and Cuppet in the pits.
Wondering if Al Merriman took a second pit stop now during the rotation. He's running in 17th. And no, it doesn't look like he did. So not exactly sure why he's so far back. Well, he did go a lap down. And now has passed Jonathan Cuppet for P16. So we're going to take it right back up to the battle for, what is it, P3 now? John Ludden in fourth, Poole in third, and Moses in second. Now, there's no denying that that saline is very strong when it's on fresh rubber. So the advantage right now may go to Moses, and he will start to put a gap between himself and David Poole and Ludden for the time being. But into the late into that second stint, that's where that Saline's rear tires start to get chewed up and they start to go away, and it looks like that is where the Porsche and the Zonda excel just a little bit more. But we're gonna have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I agree with you totally on that one. Again, this is a superb race we've got going on here for P2.
And it looks like they're coming up on Al Merriman.
Yeah, and Al is closing in on Michael Greatrix.
We we don't use the word back markers here.
I didn't hear a word you said.
I said we don't use the word back markers here.
I heard you the first time.
Oh, so Moses gets around Al Merriman. Al Merriman not holding his teammate up, but can Al Merriman perhaps play run interference with Poole and Ludden?
I wouldn't call it interference, but can he drive defensively? Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Don't know. I don't think that Al would do that, but maybe for a corner or two to give the advantage to his teammate there, who's having an absolutely brilliant run.
No, he won't be able to drive defensively. He's going to get blue flagged.
Well, I'll tell you this much: he's in a heated battle with Mike Greatrix, so it's their call right now, and they've got lapping traffic coming up behind them.
Yeah, and Poole's got the lights on. And Al moves over. And
Whoa!
Poole a big slide.
Whoa! Did you see that? He nearly drifted that entire corner. Mike Greatrix going to go just a little bit wide to let these guys by, and will hopefully shut the door on Al Merriman so that way these guys can get their race going on. But Al Merriman seems to have it all over Greatrix right now.
Yeah, I'm just following John Wooden. He's in behind that Porsche, and watch following that Porsche with those tail lights. Like I said, that brake light on David's car is very intermittently coming on and off, and that's got to be very disconcerting if you're in behind him.
Well, and like you said, it's got to be hurting his lap times out there, perhaps. But we'll have to see.
Well, his lap times are good, but I know if you got a potentiometer that's dragging on you, it can be devastating on your overall speed.
Yeah, that's where you got to set a dead zone in your settings and just kind of dial that out. So we now have an epic battle forming, or that has already formed, between John Ludden and David Poole. John Ludden on the hunt for his positions back behind Poole. So very similar circumstance perhaps to what he was going through with Moses, just that Poole seems to be able to match his pace.
Yeah, all three of these guys, very equal out on the track and in the pit lane rotation too. Their crews worked hard and got them all out pretty much evenly. A little bit of a position change coming out of the pits, but all close enough together that their pit did not ruin the race.
Alex White actually on a record pace right now. There it is. New fastest lap, 152.313.
Well, fresh finish, Robert. Now, his lead has dropped by about 10 seconds to about 15 seconds, but I don't think he's too concerned at this point. So, a little farther back, we got Ryan Schleif in 7th. Hunting down Marty Uren. They're very close together, and it looks like there's a little battle going to be brewing up there.
Just jumped on the chase cam behind Ryan Schleif to look ahead at Marty Uren to see if he gets a run going down the start-finish stretch, and he does not, but he does close the gap ever so slightly. So he's getting some pull off of Uren's car, perhaps hoping to capitalize.
He's only about a half second back on Marty, so he's going to be giving Marty a good run for that P6 position.
Chris Moses starting to check out on Poole and Ludden.
Yeah, but Chris is now coming up onto some lap traffic, which, very good. I think that's Larry Ferguson. He just went around. Well done, Larry.
That it is. That was Larry Ferguson. Thank you, Larry.
He didn't cost Chris a heartbeat. That was almost textbook on how you should do it, guys. I mean, if you're watching this replay, that was textbook. Giving a guy room, and I don't think it didn't cost Larry any time because he's still hooking up to the back of Chris Moses.
Yeah, absolutely. And Larry understands certainly that, you know what, you don't have to get off the track surface. Give the guy a little bit of racing room. These fast guys, they're pretty smart. They can squeeze into very tight spots.
Yeah, they know how to thread the needle. So Andrew Werner having almost a race all on his own is sitting in P5. I believe that's 05 Motorsports. They're having a great race tonight. Poole and Werner.
Yeah, that they are. That they absolutely are. They're running really strong here tonight.
Now that slippery little Irishman, David Canavan, in that Lister Storm, he is closing the gap up on P7. Ryan Schleif, and Ryan Schleif has got Marty in his sights, so there's a battle brewing on late in the race there. We can see these guys are all going to start to push for positions as we start running out of laps. But again, that weather has just got me all freaked out. I mean, we had absolutely terrible conditions imminent, and blue skies and nothing but great racing surfaces.
Yes, sirree. And boy, I'm just keeping my eye right now on Thomas Schubeck, who's running in P13 and has got Bjorn Heyman in his sights at P12, and looks like Schubeck is like on the prowl right now, driving that big Ford GT.
Yeah, like I said, these guys are all pushing. They can see they're into the last half of the race, and now's the time to grab the spots as we can. And a good run for Thomas in P13. Big Al making his way up to P15.
Alex White had an incident. Not sure if it was with a lapped car because the front of that Maserati is a bit beat up.
Yeah, it's more like a Maserati with the big V on the
the Maserati. I love it. So Moses comfortably in second right now, but David Poole and John Ludden still having their epic battle.
Well, I I think you're right. Something has caused that damage has really dropped Alex's lap times by about a second per lap. So that is not a good thing as far as Alex is concerned.
It is not, because Chris Moses has zero damage and he is laying down a few smokers.
And he's got 17 laps or 16 laps to do it in less than a 14-second gap. So Moses keeping a 5-second advantage over David Poole, but Poole and Ludden still in lockstep. Uh, that's been a battle going on, as you said, since the drop of the flag here. Unbelievable to stay so close for an hour and a half of racing, but it looks like that's what's going to happen all the way to the end.
Perhaps, and Schleif still hunting down Marty Uren. That's a close battle out on track too that we've been keeping our eye out on. Schleif not afforded the opportunity to make a move just yet, but not an easy task to do with Marty Uren. Marty Uren is a great driver, knows how to make that Lamborghini as wide as a boat. Not going to be easy getting around him.
No, it's not, indeed.
Aaron Parsons running in ninth, and certainly the weight here tonight has hurt Aaron Parsons' chance for top three, top five finish, because he's just carrying tons of weight.
But, as far as team championships goes, this is very interesting because both Calderon is in 11th, Parsons is in ninth. They're going to pick up some half-decent points here. But Prado and both the sub-driver are out of the race. So, boy, tightening the field for the back half of the season of GT1 Thursday Night Racing.
Well, I can tell you this much: Chris Moses right now on a tear, running in P2. Certainly going to help the team effort for PMR Racing to close that gap to Anger Racing. And you know what? Then we've got to fight till the end of the season. Almost like a refresh.
Absolutely, absolutely perfect. Now, Ludden and Poole, poor old John Ludden, sitting in fourth, is trying to do the exact around this guy.
Yeah, the difference is that Porsche does not consume the rear tires as bad as the Saline, so I believe that Ludden might just have his work cut out for him, and I know that David Poole is hungry for a podium finish here tonight. Not so sure he's going to give it up that easy.
No, but you know what? Is hey, they're the two drivers we picked for this race here, so good on them for putting their show on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and there goes Poole again with another one of his slides through that corner. Same corner again.
Okay, a little farther back, we got Ryan Schleif coming up on Marty Urant, and Marty, it looks like he's coming up on lap traffic.
Yeah, Marty Uren getting by Mike Graytrix.
Mikey moving over. Nice job, Mike. Let Ryan Schleif by really cleanly. Good on you, Mike.
Yeah, this is a really good battle that's been going on for many laps as well. Ryan Schleif gets close enough to make a move, and then I don't know, Marty Uren just closes the door and says, and they got to start all over again. That's the frustrating part, is that as you cross that start finish line, you have to do it all over again.
Yeah, and you know, as they're pushing hard, and one little slide backs you back off, and you got to start that slow, egg and painstaking inch by inch gain on the driver in front of you. But that's what it's all about.
It is, man. It is. And I like the way you put it because that's exactly how it feels.
Well, sometimes it seems to take way longer than it should to close a gap on the guy in front of you. Not that I've ever closed the gap on the guy in front of me, but it sometimes seems that way.
Well, those are what the greatest battles in auto racing are all about. The ones that do not happen just so quickly, but those that you got to work for and really, really just, hey, you got to sweat for it, man.
Well, we've got Alex White, who's out in front by almost 17 seconds to Chris Moses. But Poole and Ludden seem to be closing the gap just a little bit. They're just about 4 seconds behind Chris Moses. So as these guys are pushing each other hard, it's not really costing them much time. They're actually closing the gap there. But you know, Chris has got his eye on that gap separation, and he'll try and manage that as best he can.
Well, I just caught up with David Canavan, who is trying to put the moves on Andrew Werner, and David Canavan seemingly having the pace because he has closed a relatively large gap to near nothing. And then here, Andrew Werner, that left front of his car has got some aero damage, so no doubt doing some harm in terms of speed and lap times. David Canavan now with no lap traffic between he and Andrew Werner, gonna try and make the best of this now.
Yeah, Werner's last lap, he picked up a 206, so he has had some sort of an incident there, which probably gathered him up some damage and has allowed Canavan to close that gap.
Yep, and now we have a race for P7 as well.
So, good racing all the way through. You've got Poole and Ludden battling it out for P3. You got Uren and Schleif battling it out for P4 and P5. Werner and Canavan for P7. There's good racing all the way around here.
That there is, sir. That there is. So Canavan.
One guy we haven't mentioned much is that Gub Douglas. He's just running a smooth race. He's in P10. He's doing a great job out there. He's still on the lead lap.
Yes, sirree. And Gup driving the Pirelli Shod Saline SR7 car. It's another car that's really hard on the rear tires. But Gup just seems to be going on cruise control around the track right now. So good on you, Gup.
Yeah, good tire management there.
So Canavan having closed the gap to Andrew Werner and now not able to close it any further as Andrew Werner is just doing all he can to stay out front and pushing hard. David Canavan hoping for a break. And now Marty Uren starting to put some distance between himself and Ryan Schleif.
Yeah, Schleif must have been a little bit of a bobble there on the last lap as lap times have dropped. Lost about a half second there, so not a big mistake, but just enough to give a little bit of breathing room there to Marty.
Yes, sir. And your leader way out there. 18-second lead over Chris Moses.
In increasing the gap is, well, same thing that happened in the first stint. He just, was, picking up a half a second a lap and on the rest of the field and just, as you say, put it on cruise control.
Oh, John Ludden having a look on the inside of David Poole. We're going to go on the bumper cam with John Ludden as he's going to get a run on David Poole coming down the front stretch.
He's got him. Boy.
If he can make this stick. Oh, he backs out of it. And I'm wondering if Thomas Schubeck being just up ahead had anything to do with John Ludden backing out of that one.
Well, this is definitely no time to wreck your race.
No, certainly not. But he could have matched David Poole's braking zone and perhaps held it inside line. Not sure if he lacked a little confidence in the ability of his car to do so. Oh, David Poole locking up the rears, avoiding Thomas Schubeck. No doubt Thomas Schubeck getting that blue flag. He's going to go ahead and move over.
Yep, that's let Poole and Ludden in nose to tail, and this is some great action. But there's more lap traffic up ahead, so this hijinks still is going to keep going on for the better part of the next couple of laps.
I agree. We're going to stick with this battle right now as it is the closest battle for position out on track, and it is for a podium position as we see again Poole locking up those rear tires as he slides around the corner. No doubt Poole having to get heavy on the brakes. This is going to be hurting the performance of the rear tires on that Porsche.
Not seeing the tail lights on Poole's Porsche lighting up as bad as they were in that first stint. I don't know what's happened there, but I'm not seeing them like I saw in the first stint.
Right. And Ludden again with a look on the inside. And yeah, David Poole taking it deep into the braking zone.
See the cars just shaking as they went through the corner there.
Yep, absolutely.
John hanging it out right to the outer limits of the track before the corner, trying to get a better line and maybe a little better launch out of the corner. Just can't seem to get it done though.
No, and David Poole is such a good driver that even with the slides and the locking up of the tires, he's not losing too much control of the car. So he's pushing, but pushing moderately. And I am pretty sure that's got to be frustrating the heck out of John Ludden right now.
Well, I don't know if it's frustrating him, but it sure looks like a lot of fun out there to me.
And they are once again coming up on some lap traffic. Looks like Bjorn Heyman is up ahead of them. And
they got a few cars to get through.
We should see Poole's lights coming on any moment now. His courteous way of letting folks know that he is there.
Yeah, nothing disrespectful about that when you're overtaking cars that are a lap down. Put your lights on, the guy behind you can actually see them, and they give you the best opportunity to get by.
That's right, and there they go. There go the lights. So Poole coming up on some lap traffic. Bjorn Heyman in the other Pagani Zonda, teammate to the nemesis that is chasing down Poole, John Ludden. No doubt has the blue flags. Gonna have to give way, perhaps. Not quite yet.
Wow, nope, he didn't do it there, and that was a good opportunity for him just to let Poole slide through on the inside there.
Well, there go the dip of the lights. He's Poole's letting him know, hey, I'm behind you. Give me an opportunity. Whoa.
Whoa, that almost cost his teammate, John Ludden. A bit of a pucker moment there, I'd say.
And it looks now like they are either coming up on Calderon or is that Parsons?
Calderon.
So Calderon takes the inside line. Hopefully he doesn't shift back out. No, he's going to stay on the inside and let both of them by.
Nicely done by Sergio. Way to go, Sergio. That was classic. That was very nice. And a great bit of driving by Ludden there to get in, tuck himself in there before Calderon hit the corner.
Yes, sir. So Ludden has been locked in a battle since the first lap of this race with pretty much the same folks. Well, with David Poole here in this case on the second stint. Earlier it was Chris Moses. Right now Chris Moses has got a little bit of breathing room as we see him far off down the straightaway. But Ludden and Poole not catching a break this race and not getting not having the opportunity to rest much because they have been in such close, heated battles since lap one.
These guys are battling. I mean, they can see Chris up ahead. Chris has only got about a 4-second lead, but as I mentioned earlier, Chris is a very astute driver when he's out there on the track, and he knows the gap he's got to manage. So if he can, he's going to manage the gap. But we did see Chris, get some tire degradation in the first stint, so it might be happening again as David Poole may be forgetting about what's behind him and looking ahead to what's in front of him now.
John Ludden grabbing some grass there. Nearly loses it, but puts it back together and maintains his gap to David Poole. But yeah, I see that you're right. We're starting to see a little bit more of Chris Moses' car in this shot as we follow around with John Ludden looking up ahead at David Poole.
Yep, they definitely see got Moses there, and this is going to be a three-way battle. We got about 7 or 8 laps left. This is a three-way battle for P2.
So, as they cross the start-finish line, to start on lap number 39. Got about 7 laps to go.
Yeah, and P6 and 7, we've got Warner and Schleif. No, I'm sorry.
Schleif and Werner.
Yeah. As Werner's trying to run him down. Looks like he's got Larry Ferguson in between. So all these guys trying to improve in the last closing laps of this race tonight, Ken.
Yeah, and now Werner's got Canavan on his tail. Canavan driving the 5-speed Lister Storm here at NAGP GT1. And he's trying to make the best of his situation, trying to close in on Andrew Werner, but he's got Ferguson behind, but right in between them.
I've always liked that Lister Storm. I don't know why, but I always did like that car.
And it looks like Canavan is starting to dip the lights at Ferguson. Ferguson perhaps feeling that Canavan is not quite close enough, but he's going to go wide and let Canavan by and say, you know what, go ahead. Go about your battle with Andrew Werner.
That battle for, P2, Moses, Poole, and Ludden. quite interesting. As they close up here, it almost looks like David Poole has given himself just a slight little bit of breathing room here to John Ludden. I mean, John was, on his, bumper so heavy there for a number of laps. Maybe David Poole has just, put his nose to the grindstone and said, geez, I'm going after Moses.
Yeah, quite possibly. He may have forgotten of about defending his line, and like you said, just focus on what's ahead of you.
And, as I watch John Ludden go around the track tonight, boy, he drives a really nice line, just a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, that he does. That he does, absolutely. And John Ludden has been fast from the word go when he came here with NAGP GT1. And you know,
Yeah, we haven't talked much about him, but Alex White is literally, we haven't given him much love in here. There's not much racing going out there, Alex, but you're sort of you're in a different race tonight. You're in a race all your own. He's opened up the gap to 25, almost 26 seconds now.
that is just unbelievable. Your race leader, Alex White, through the start finish loop. And now Poole and Ludden making inroads to Chris Moses' position, sitting in P2. So David Poole in P3. And again, I reiterate that Poole looking for a podium finish here tonight to help himself in the Drivers' Championship and his team in the team standings. So he's like a man on a mission tonight.
Yeah, and with Poole sitting in third right now, and Werner in seventh. Great showing by this team tonight.
Absolutely.
Again, PMR is in great shape tonight for the team championship with Chris Moses currently sitting in second and Al Merriman sitting in 15th. So Al's dropped back a few spots, but still a good finish. Al Merriman in the pits. And that was because of his early pit stop that he had to make.
Yes, that is correct. So he will probably end up finishing 15th for this race tonight. Still a couple points there to help his team along.
He has dropped to the back of the pack already. So he is taking a splash of gas and he's off and he's rolling. But unfortunate race for Big Al tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that he had some type of an issue because he lost his entire front clip. Had to come in for the repairs, which no doubt felt like an eternity in the pits. I know what that's like.
With that heavy damage there, I mean, you just cannot turn damage off. I mean, you can't drive these cars without the front clip on them. So it takes almost forever, pretty much a lap. And that was really unfortunate. That was the end of the race for Al.
Yes, unfortunately. So now Andrew Werner in P7 and Ryan Schleif in P6 having a battle of their own. David Canavan having dropped back a few seconds there. So Schleif and Werner pulling away from Canavan just a bit.
Okay, we've got 4 laps left, Kent, and they're all in lockstep now. Moses, Poole, and Ludden. A great finish to a great race, and I think this is a really interesting track, personally, myself.
You know, someone whom we've hardly mentioned tonight, Marty Uren, driving the Lamborghini Diablo, sitting in 5th. Very respectable position for Marty Uren tonight.
A great drive by Marty.
Hey, a top 5. That's good. That's good for me.
Top drive's good for any driver in this league. So Poole and Ludden
Ooh, Poole.
closing in.
Poole with a little bit of a tire spin coming out of that last corner. And now Ludden again, perhaps perceiving, whoa, Ludden really taking a look inside and locks up his rear brakes. Whoa.
Poole sideways.
Um, no doubt having looked at, hey, you know what? We've got only a few laps left to go. This is it. I've got to do it now. And is pushing Poole to drive even harder. They're closing in on Chris Moses. And no doubt that's happening because Chris's rear tires are perhaps starting to go.
Identical to what's happened in the very first stint, late in the first stint. Chris is going to be suffering from tire degradation. And Poole and Ludden putting on a show, trying to take that away. This is all for P2 now. Poole way wide, Ludden on the inside. Can he hold it down? No.
Oh, we dropped somebody.
I still can't figure it out.
Marty Uren dropped, I think.
Yes, you're right. What a shame. Broadcaster's curse, broadcaster's curse. We did it.
I know, man. I was just saying how he was out there running a very, very good race. Out there in 5th. So sorry, Marty.
3 laps left.
So with 3 laps left, John Ludden all over the tail of David Poole. David Poole not conceding 1 inch of track to John Ludden. Will John Ludden find a way? Will he exploit some area of the track where he can get around David Poole and perhaps now start to hunt down Chris Moses? As Chris Moses, no doubt, is suffering. We're going to go back to the timing and scoring. And Chris Moses' lap times are starting to drop off. He went from 152s to 53s, 54s. He just put in a 55.
You know, this is almost like a replay of the first stint.
Yeah, that indeed. And it does not surprise me. So John Ludden taking to the apex a little bit earlier, trying to get some sort of advantage.
He's got him. He has got him.
Yep, that he does. And Ludden's going to go by. And he's going to take over P3. So now that podium position transfers to John Ludden. Can John Ludden hold on? Well, first, can he hold on to P3? And 2, with just 2 laps to go, can he hunt down the pit wizard, Chris Moses?
Well, he did it. He did it before. He's going to do it again. I'm almost positive that Ludden is now, he's got the bit in his teeth. I think he can do it.
2 laps, I don't know, Jack. I know that Ludden's got the pace, but Moses has got the patience. And he is quickly pulling up on Moses. John Ludden taking no shorts. He is hungry tonight, looking for that P2. Yeah, he sure did.
And given Chris Moses everything he's got, this is one of the best finishes I've seen in a long time, Ken.
You and me both, Jack. But Chris Moses here holding a tight line. Ludden looking to apex a little bit earlier, a little bit later to get a good run on Moses, but it's not going to get done.
Well-matched cars, but just doesn't have the snot to pull up and get away.
Moses goes wide. Oh! And he's going to...
This is going to be it. This is going to be it.
This is it. Last lap. He's got to do it now or he's not going to get it done. Moses closing the door and Ludden trying to get alongside.
Got a little too much curb there.
John Ludden absolutely knows that he's got to get it done within the next few turns. He is giving Chris Moses a mirror full of Pagani Zonda, and Chris Moses, no doubt, has got to be white knuckling that steering wheel around this track with those rear tires probably ablaze.
Yeah, and Ludden has done everything he possibly can, and he may just come up a lap or two short.
Yep, absolutely. He's still giving it his all, though. I mean, there's still about 4 corners left to go. And he is looking to it. Oh, a little bit of a squirreliness there. David Poole now closing in on John Ludden, trying to exploit any weakness as he comes alongside Chris Moses coming into this turn. The advantage is going to go to Chris Moses. Oh, no. Look at this. He gets the pass done.
Alex White is your race whip.
We still have P2, 3, and 4 to be decided, but John Ludden with a last-ditch effort taking the inside line away from Chris Moses. Moses not able to hold on, but they've got 2 more corners to go. David Poole backing off, conceding the battle to these two. And it looks like John Ludden is going to be able to take that second spot here at Brno tonight.
Well, that was absolutely a replay of the first stint where John Ludden and Chris Moses duked it out. What a battle. So we got Moses in third, Poole in fourth.
Ryan Schleif still currently running in fifth, being hunted down by David Canavan, but Canavan does not have the distance to Schleif to get around him, it seems, as they come around the last couple corners here.
Well, Ken, don't count anything out because that last lap jitters can get anybody.
It certainly can, but Ryan Schleif driving brilliantly here tonight, just keeping it together, driving the Hexus Racing Aston Martin DBRS 9, comes across in fifth, Canavan sixth, Andrew Werner in seventh. Aaron Parsons will come through a distant eighth.
Yeah, old Gup Douglas coming in. You're going to finish in ninth. And Bjorn Heyman 10, Calderon 11, Schubeck 12, Guppet in 13th, Merriman in 14th, Ferguson in 15th. What a race.
Yeah, you're not kidding. What a race. I think what we should do is go and grab Alex White, bring him up here, and I think we ought to bring up Poole and Ludden too.
Absolutely. You grab White. I'm going to see if I can get Poole and Ludden to join us up here.
Yes, sir. So, folks, there you have it. Alex White putting on a great show for us here at Brno. Let me go ahead and grab Alex. I'm going to bring him up here. He's talking a little bit down there, but I'm just going to grab him and bring him up here real quick. Hey, Alex, sorry to have just pulled you away from your conversation with Aaron Parsons, Sergio, but congratulations on your win. Looks like you were on cruise control out there. Can you tell us about how it went for you?
It went pretty well. I jumped in and had like 4 or 5 laps of practice, as you said, so I had to set up the car really conservatively. So that qualifying time wasn't as fast as it could have been, but it really helped during the race. I just drove well within the car's limits and tried to not slide the car too much, otherwise it'd start wearing the rears a huge amount. And so I started with mediums in the front, hards in the back, and they were completely fine the whole stint, and they started to go off a bit towards the end. But in the pit lane there was a complete kerfuffle with another car who was for some reason trying to do a 180 in the pit lane because it was facing the wrong way, and he hit me. So I had understeer, which is understeer caused by aero damage, and then that affected me the whole second stint because it was nowhere near as decent as it could have been. The car was understeering like a brick, really, but eventually got it to the end.
Yeah, we know.
All right, boys, we also have John Ludden up here. And, John, you ran a fabulous race. Congratulations. Can't believe the second stint looked like a replay of the first stint.
Yeah, it was amazing. You know, I was disappointed when Chris and David got out in front of me after the pit, but you know, I knew we had some good pace, so I was hoping to catch up.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal race. Last ditch effort. We caught it all in the broadcast, so I hope that you will enjoy that rebroadcast because that was what you did on the last lap with about maybe 4 or 5 corners left to go was nothing short of miraculous. Holding the inside line around that turn, Chris Moses just swinging out just a little bit wide so you can gain the advantage. I'd like to know what your thoughts and feelings were at that point when you gained P2.
Well, I really didn't believe it to begin with. You know, I'd been stuck behind David and Chris, you know, pretty much the whole race, and you know, it was just a great feeling to see him go a little wide, and the Zonda just can hang that inside turn so well, you know, and that was it.
An absolutely phenomenal race. Now, Alex, back to you. Early on in the race, we had Aaron Parsons running second to your position for such a long time. Looked like Aaron Parsons had some really good pace, and then you started to gap Aaron Parsons. So, can you tell us what happened to your teammate for tonight?
I think it was Ian, but I've got no idea. He was behind me, and I think he must have crashed or something at some point. I don't know what happened to him, but at the start it was like I was really concentrating on not crashing because this car just bites you if you go wrong. I don't really know what happened to Ian. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, we're going to have to follow that up next week, Jack, you and I. So, Jack, I'll turn it over to you to finish out this interview.
Well, guys, congratulations, Alex. You were in a race all by yourself out there tonight. We didn't give you much loving out there, but John Ludden, I got to tell you, that was quite the epic battle you had there with David Poole and Chris Moses all race long. Kudos to your driving. That was amazing the way you finished it off. And again, Alex, a great win. And John Ludden, fabulous race. Loved watching it. Thanks for all the enjoyment, guys.
Cheers for doing the broadcast.
Thanks a lot, guys. And for Jack Ivy and myself, I am Ken Rodriguez, and we will do it again next week, next Thursday night, NAGP GT1 Racing. Thanks for joining.